Now, okay. Um, we're going to read something in the sutta later, but first look at the page 79. Okay. The page 79 is a category of sensation, vedana, okay, padartha. Anyway, well, certainly in Abhidharma, looks like there are much content, there are much thing to talk about. It's the samskara, means the conditioning or the formations, right? But then also, if you look at these events, just look at the paragraph they have. It looks like actually they still, even in just a sensation itself, no, sorry, the feelings itself, or sensation, the sensation or the feeling itself, it looks like there's few paragraphs to talk about. It seems like it's one of the very important topics. I'm going to say that maybe a little more later. Just let's go through the sensation first. Certainly the first paragraph, that means paragraph 2, it is very clear that in the paragraph 2 means, so we must recognize there are three types of sensations. Okay, it's very important understanding. In other words, there are three kinds of experience. We must understand actually if you look at the sutra or sutras. So normally either you use the word called sanipana, or actually even in Pali the same with sanipana, it means you experienced. But usually when you use the sanipana, it's a kind of connotation. You translate in English as experience, but in original language, so it's kind of like denotes that there's a collection. You experience it collectively, kind of like sun, because with collection, sanipana. Or if you use this like anubhava, of course this is where you can see here they have a Sanskrit word. There are three kinds of experience, the anubhava. So it's kind of like something appear, because of anu here means continuously, like following, follow after. Now following that something appear, but you also translate into English as experienced. But then another word which is also very much, especially when you start to do meditation, so called samvedi. Okay. Samvedani. So maybe I should write down. And all this anubhava. But both three still translate as in English mean experienced. Okay? Or you feel, something like that. But these three often the as past participle, but is or you can take it as almost like as an now. As a participle, but let's take it as a verb. So always refer to feelings, okay? But normally if we use the sanipana, it's like, normally we say, what is feeling? Three together called the feelings, So the three together, you experience three together called the feelings. Then you will use this verb, sanipana, okay, in Sanskrit. But then if you say, how you have the feeling, so and then you have this following after experience is called the feeling. Actually, anubhava, that you could say literally means following after or following continuously that something exists. That's mean the feeling. But we still translate in English mean experienced. And then you have the word called samvedani, especially say when you meditate or the in breath and out breath, you feel light. You feel heavy, you feel strong, you feel happy, you don't feel happy. They use this same word, samvedani. Vedana, is mean you feel vedana, like what we say here, the sensation. But samvedani, anyway, here is as an kind of connotation as a past participle, but passive voice. But then anyway, it's mean you make to be feel something that way. Okay. I want to say this is because even here they translate as experienced, okay, but you have to understand, he put a bracket here, anubhava. I don't know how it comes up this word, but I just let you know, we don't know which word in Sanskrit originally, but even though it still means experience in English, but they may try to make a very slight different sense there, okay. The first one, when you read it, you know that it have kind of emphasis on because of the cause and conditions. So when that thing are gathered together, so you feel it, you know. The second one is when you say that samvedani is more like, you know, you directly feel something, you know, but you understand what they are. So they don't necessarily have the connotation or mean because of the three things made together or how many things comes together that you feel it, okay. We're going to talk about what are these three later, okay. And then like the anubhava, it's a kind of like, you know, something happen, appear, and you feel it, you know. So kind of like that. That might be at least give you one sense to understand when we say feel, experienced. Sometimes, you know, that's why always in my mind. Sometimes when the people talk in terms of language, so I get people usually get confused. It's lots of problems because of language, the way you understand what they are. But anyway, I usually will think which word you are talking. But it's okay. But at least we remember this. You can still translate as a kind of experience. Now, let's say, so in feelings, with regard to the feelings, how many experience you have, of course, in the text there are many. And then, but when you narrow it down, you know, ultimately there are only three. So you cannot say there's only one experience, but they do. Mostly, I remember in one of the Buddhist texts it mentioned, we are going to read some Buddhist text, but it's not included in this one. In one of the Samyutta Nikaya, the Buddhist text mentioned that, you know, the monk claimed that there's only one kind of experience. And then it was kind of controversial among the community in those days. And then they asked the monk, and the other monks would try to reconfirm by that monk who claimed that there's only just one kind of experience. So, and the only experience of the suffering, the only experience of the suffering. So, and anyway, later on, they really, then of course, then the report to the Buddha. But then the Buddha said, did you say that there's only one kind of experience, that the experience of suffering? And then he said he did so. But to your surprise, actually Buddha disagreed with that. Okay. All right. You sure that it's working?
There's a feedback.
Hello, the online one, can you hear me? I didn't see the light.
Please mute your
Let's amplify, come up and go back.
mute your phone. For online student, please mute your phone. 那个线上的学生，请你们把你们的那个麦克风把它关静音，好吧？要不然会有一些回收。
It looks like only Alison Zhou and Alan Cho didn't mute it. Anyway, so can you hear me on the online? Hello? 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 Yes, you can hear me better? Hello? Can you hear me now? I think they don't have problem. If they have problem, they will tell me. Okay. No, it's okay. If they can, that's all right. Okay, where we were. All right. Just let's go to this first. Okay. So, and we must remember that's very important. Important is even when you do meditation. Certainly, you might have different sensation, but ultimately you have to only able just to discern the pleasure sensation, unpleasure sensation, and the neutral sensation. Okay. So, but then he said that's very good. Okay, actually it's very important. Latest one, he say these are the experience of the three results of a contact. Remember, sparsha, anubhavana. Okay, so it's still That's I just mentioned already. The word experience, it's because how it appears, it's due to, but it's anyway something because of the contact you experience the feelings. Okay. And then we look at the next paragraph. The paragraph say that, just to try to elaborate a little further, they are produced by the different psychophysical state born of contact which are respectively desirable, undesirable, and neither. Their characteristics are respectively joy, sorrow, and neither with regard to the object. Okay, with regard to the object. Yeah. I think because this is a mic. Is there any problem? No, but I mean, I would like to know the online friend they can hear. 你要打字给他们，问他们，他们听得到吗？
没有。
嗯？
还是听不到。
他们说听不到。
The mic is the microphone.
But we cannot move.
那就把它拔掉了。这个我觉得这个 setting 的，还是说不需要。对，这个 setting 呢，这个肯定这个麦不是。你看上次我用的就是不能的，在 Mac 里面用是不能的。所以，你把它拔掉看，你把它拔掉就可能就可以了。Hello， 有没有？ Can you hear that? Can you try again? 不是，那只是 speaker. Hello? Yeah, sure. 你现在可以，刚才你听得到吗？刚才因为我们想要插一个麦再进去。你一直听得很好哈，插了麦也听得很好。等一下他在弄啊，如果没有问题，我们再用回那个麦看。
Can you hear better now?
你现在听得会更清楚一点吗 ？Hello。 不是，我就问说，在网络上你现在会不会听得更清楚一点 ？Do you think it's clearer now? Oh, he said that it looks the same. Sound the same. Hello， 那现在会不会好一点？好像好一点了，那就弄大一点了，这样。也好，这样会不会更好？这样会不会更好？ 不，我的意思不是问可不可以，是不是会更好？啊 ？OK， 这样就好嘛？对 ，That's good。OK， 你先插进去看会不会有帮忙。那我们等一下，你等别，不，你现在这样，我们现在插那个麦啊，你听听看会不会有更好？如果没有，再跟我们说啊。现在不好。 那现在这样会不会更好？这样好对不对？可以吗？好，那就没问题。I think that's okay, right? Thank you. Yeah. Another problem is that when before we leave, they want to print out something that the printer have protest something, and so I couldn't even print my notes and whatever. So I had to only put in my iPad. I'm very modern now.
21st century monk.
So let's look at this 2.1. Okay, they say that they are produced by the different 2.1 paragraph 2.1. Okay, they are produced by the different psychophysical states born of contact. We must understand the feelings born of contact, in other words, which are desirable and or undesirable, or ishta and anishta, okay, and neither, okay. So in other words, mean that they refer to those what we understand the three kind of the sensations, right? They are characteristics. So what is the characteristic of they? They are joy, sorrow, and neither, okay, with regard to the object. Okay, I don't think you have any much question with that. So even though they use a different word, okay, but then in other words, mean if you read sutra, maybe in a kind of like try to discern that when you say desirable, or undesirable, or neither, so it's maybe how to say it's maybe directly contact, and you whether desirable object or undesirable object, But that, and then you also could feel that you like it or don't like it, But if you want to look at the nature of the feelings, actually you understand the nature itself is only three, right? The pleasure or pleasure, displeasure, or this neither pleasure or displeasure, neutral feelings, okay? Now we understand that they are named the Vedanas 2.2 because they are the cause of craving. Okay, we have to understand that actually is the cause of craving, as the Buddha say, Bhagavan has said, conditioned by the contact, there arise sensation. Conditioned by sensation, there arise craving. Okay, so due to this contact, because of the contact, the sensation arises. Okay, and due to the sensation, then the craving arises. So. Yeah, that is in the dependent arising or dependent co-arisings. So. And they are divided into 6 kind of consciousness. You can divide them into 6 kind of consciousness. Like the feelings can be arises due to the eye consciousness, right? And due to the the ear consciousness or nose consciousness, and so and so. Okay, so that's why then the first 5 one, because it has the cognizance, okay. They have the cognizance, they arise together, they arise together with the physical. So that's why we say that those 5 consciousness are named the physical sensation, okay. Understand? So that means we have the, if we are aware, if that your eyes, if anything, because of the contact with the object, right, and then you arise as eye consciousness. And because of eye consciousness, you have a consciousness. I'm talking this in the simultaneously. Your consciousness arises. The simultaneously, I have the object, and then you have the eye consciousness. That comes simultaneously. Actually, even the same thing for simultaneously, that you have the contact, because the eye had the contact. So with the object. So that's why, because of the contact of the object, you have the feelings. Okay, right? And because of the feelings, you have the craving. Remember that? Okay, just before. So that's actually happened in one moment, or if you want to talk in Abhidharma way, means in one moment. It means simultaneously comes together. Okay, you don't say, oh, I first have eye, and then the eye see the object, and then let me look at it again, and that no, it immediately everything is there. But with our consciousness or with our awareness, we can aware this that. Okay, that contact comes, or actually that feelings come, or because of that cravings come. Okay, so, get it now? But do you? We're going to read something later. I don't want to make it complicated now. So then, with that 5 senses, through these 5 senses, don't you know that's belong to bodily? Okay, bodily, and then sensation. But then the one only in the mind, what we call the cognizance, 就是in Chinese called 具身嘛. They, 具 here, usually it might be referred to 2 things, mean actually together they arise. Okay, so and the cognizance, and if which are the cognizance with the mental consciousness and then the mental sensation. Okay, in that. Get it now? In Sarvastivada Abhidharma, they try to say, of course, the sensation divided into physical sensation and the mental sensation. But how you define the physical sensations is with when they coalesce with those 5 consciousness, right? And then that is the so with the physical ones like the eyes, nose, the tongue, and the body, and the ears, and so the 5 so-called the physical, and then the mental is with the consciousness. Okay. Yes. Hello. You had question? Okay. Can you hear me?
No.
George. 不，我知道，但是不，现在如果只有一个人不会听到，肯定不是我们的问题。我是问别人。Hello, can you hear me? George? Okay, good. 那他们听得到。Okay, launch. Good. Right. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is it possible to have the first 5 consciousness without the mental consciousness?
I think that question is interesting to say. Let me think about. Is it possible?
It is consciousness, I consciousness.
No, I think I think in terms of the, if you talk in terms of the cognizance, the arises together, it's possible.
Possible without.
Possible without?
Without the conscious, without your mental consciousness, you were asking that. Yes, it's possible without a mental consciousness. If you talk in terms of the cognizance. In other words, mean. No. 具身。
是在意识具生明情受 in Chinese.
Yeah, but her question is whether possible arises. It's possible, but
Different stage.
no, I'm not sure because this question is I'm not sure this question too, but I think
Usually.
because I don't understand the term possible here. It's what do we refer to the possible here?
Are there 5, the first 5 consciousness without mental consciousness?
The 6.
Yeah.
But
I
here,
If the answer is no, there is no physical sensation by definition. Right? Because physical sensation by definition is just co-arisen with the first 5 consciousness only.
No, I mean, well, I mean, say that how do okay. So firstly, in terms we come back to the sutra explanation. So how do we explain the Buddha say there are six sensations? The eye sensation, the ear sensation. So, 六受. Because of the new consciousness, and then you have the new 6. Because of the 6 consciousness, then you have the 6 feelings. You have the 6 contacts, right? And then you have, because of 6 contacts, you have the 6 feelings. And according actually in Samyutta Nikaya, and also the one of the chapter called Okanti chapter, Samyutta, or entering chapter. I don't know how to translate in Chinese now. And then they said very clearly that you can understand the non-self through any of that also. So any kind of like to say any one of that. So, but I think your question it will be more like the question of actually Vasubandhu too. Certainly, Vasubandhu. I didn't check it whether Vasubandhu really believed that. I forgot already. But I want to say. But certainly, if you look at this in terms of the Yogacara. I don't know how to explain it, but that's a good question. I have to look at how Yogacara try to explain, because certainly ultimately Yogacara will believe that without those consciousness, they shouldn't be able to arise as all these feelings and for the physical part. But then I doubt that also, because I just want to see how they explain. So I mean, they might be give up another explanation, but I doubt that they try to reject it totally, but I just don't know how they explain it, because we must understand in this from up to this point by the five aggregates, it's important to understand the nama rupa, that means the form and then the mental and the physical should be interreacted together. So if you only just single one out, say there's only mental, there's no physical, and there's no physical, there's mental, those are still is extreme. It's not in the middle path. Basically, you still don't see that they are interreacted. In other words, you don't know they are conditioned also by each other. So, but I just don't know how they will explain. I will try to find it out later. I'm sure that this is one of the big topic in them too. Yeah. So in other words, my understanding so far, I think no. I think yes, they should be arises, but how they explain it, I don't know. So in other words, you cannot say that when I hear the sound, even though my eyes actually look at the thing, and I don't aware my ear have the feelings, but you cannot say that this is not exist.
But there's
That's one
Western
other thing.
tradition, there's conscious and unconscious. So you could actually see something in a flash, but your consciousness totally doesn't.
Yeah, you don't
Your
aware it,
conscious
yeah.
knows it. Because there was already been contact and there was mental formation, but it happens unconsciously.
Yeah, that might be
So
good.
that happens in
Yeah.
terms of Western
Yeah,
explanation.
even in Pali, of course, that's
But
kind.
consciousness is not.
They're kind of very similar,
not
because
aware of it.
because you have the object is so weak to you. So.
There's the mental formation.
Okay, wait. That's, I would try to see. Is that's what your question is about? Yeah. I know when you talk about Abhidharma, it's always comes more question than a sutta, I guess.
But it's good. It makes you think.
I have to admit, actually, this 2.4, there's one difficult for me, is the language here. On account of the different faculty, indriya, okay? I have to check it, I don't know also why they have to say different faculty. Maybe someone might know that, okay? It's very common to say that also. I mean, I don't really know why they had to put indriya here. Well, I can understand what is the rest, but I mean in terms of language, why indriya? Okay. So on account of the different faculty, a fivefold division is established. The faculty of the pleasure, the displeasure, joy, sorrow, and equanimity. Okay. I mean, this is I don't think that it's a big question, but I don't understand why I have to say that in terms of different faculties. Okay. I mean, this faculty refer to what? Okay. Yeah. That's for sure different here. Faculty is he talk about this five, but why faculty? You know.
I think that's not the right word.
No, huh?
I don't think that's the right translation.
So I'm not sure about that. So I have to say. Really?
I think so. It should be something else. But not
I
faculty requires, it refers to intellectual faculty or different faculties, but I don't know if it's.
Well, the Chinese only using the word gun, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but then if you say the gun, yeah, certainly you can translate as an indriya also, or maybe you can translate as a mula, the root, you know. I'm not sure, as I say, that's okay. But anyway, get it? Just they say there are five root or five indriya, okay, and those are the five. And then the pleasure, the pleasant physical sensation, and the pleasant mental sensation of the third meditation are named the faculty of pleasure, okay. It means that might have to do with this. So the pleasant physical sensation and the pleasant mental sensation of the third meditation are named the faculty of pleasant. But being the pleasant, satta means being beneficial. The unpleasant physical sensation are named the faculty of displeasure. Being unpleasant means being harmful all the pleasant mental sensations, with the exception of that in the third meditation, are named the faculty of joy. Okay, the unpleasant mental sensations are named the faculty of sorrow. The physical and mental sensations, which are neither pleasant nor unpleasant, are named the faculty of equanimity. The detail explained on there to be found under the exception of faculty indriya. So, okay, that makes a little sense now. Okay, 75. We look at the 75. Before we come to this point, anyway, so when we come to the indriya, so you know there's a chapter, especially when you study the Abhidharma, when you talk about like Abhidharma course of chapter 2, when you talk about the indriya, there are 22 kind of indriya. So under the 22 kind of indriya, so this is a kind of category. I mean, anyway, Skandila trying to include this into this Skandila system here. Why don't we just look at the note, I guess, 75, you know. I didn't expect that the indriya would be the sensation here. Okay, no. So in other words, if you look at from the notes, we understand that say that when the pleasant mental sensation in the third jhana alone is given the name Sukha Indriya, because so unlike those in the Kama Dhatu and the first two jhana, it is free from attachment of priti, being calm and serene, according to Abhidharma Kosa. Okay. All right. We look. In other words, mean if there's a 5 indriya, one indriya is called the pleasant indriya, and one is called the displeasure. One is called the saumanasya, mean or domanasya. Saumanasya mean joy or the sorrow. I think in Pali what they translate somanasa and domanasya. It's when you learn this Pali Abhidharma, the 89 types of the consciousness. Domanasa, the first 11 or 8 type of kusala, domanasa. Anyway, the domanasa, that maybe translated the same way. I don't know. Domanasa means joy, huh? No, I mean the English. I forgot. Yeah. Anyway, so it's very the word they use very similar to the Pali, but I don't know. They use a different meaning here. So he want to say there's a 5. Also must understand in the feelings in terms of 5 faculties. One faculty is called the Sukha faculties. One is called the Dukkha faculty. I mean the pleasure faculty. What does the pleasure faculty here is the mental sensation of the third meditation. Okay, it's very interesting. I want to say that the difficulty is why this such a matter for them. Okay, it's all right, but we just follow the text first. It's because in meditation, you are in the first jhana. In the second jhana, you have this what we call the upright thought, sustained thought, right? The 有循有事 in Chinese. And then you also have the so-called the priti, mean the joy. Sometimes I translate as joy. 我们叫一般 Chinese sometimes we translate 喜 And then you have another factor is mean le, the sukha. That's what mean here. The word mean happiness. And then the last one is called ekagrata. It means one pointedness. 就一尽性。有时候 we sometimes in Chinese translate 定，就是 that's simple. So 一尽性 is perhaps is a more common to use for the Chinese translation. Okay, when you're in the first jhana, you have these 5 things. However, you have these 5 things, 5 components. Like in normal day, we have many things. We have worry, we have this, we have that, we have happy, we have joy, we have those. But when you're in the jhana, only these 5 things exist. Okay. So when you're in the first jhana, when these 5 things exist, But however, the first two things become predominant. They are there. If you compare these five, let's say the five finger or five components there, the first two components actually are the heavier or the rough than the other. Okay, so if they are there, it becomes a prominent feature. So you only feel more. You only feel more the first and the second. Okay, it's just like normal day. Maybe sometimes your mind is focused. Okay, but then you have so many other things together. So and they become prominent. So it can be. This can influence you, kind of like. And then here, that's why they talk about third jhana, because only when you're in the third jhana, you're able to remove the first three things. That means the applied thought, the sustained thought, and the third one is the joy, okay? And because in meditation, of course, in the third jhana, I mean, you enter in a mental state for the third jhana state. When you remove the three things, so the happiness only sustain there, and what else? The ekagata, mean the one-pointness only sustain there. However, but the happiness become prominent, right? So you feel happy, so many types of happy. So here they say when it had to make a very clear distinction as indriya here. Because they have this the mental, it said that the third meditation, it's called that as an indriya, so the happiness, is it called translate happiness? Yeah, pleasure, indriya, because so it's the pleasant mental sensation of the third meditation. Okay.
It's piti and sukha, right? And this is.
No, it's the same word, priti and piti. Piti is Pali, but priti is Sanskrit, okay? In other words, of course, those are certainly it's very clear in meditation. So that is nothing to do with the physical, okay? It's all mental. Remember, we always say that meditation is all mental.
But it's still rupa jhana.
Yeah, it is a rupa jhana, but it didn't say it's. I mean,
is it considered mental? The third jhana?
No, here the physical is referred to the body. The physical refer to the first five consciousness, like the eyes, eye feelings. I mean, the feelings come from eyes or the nose and those, the physical.
So this is the third jhana, then is the mental?
So, the only mental. So, and then the being pleasant here means being beneficial, okay? So, anyway, I think that's what he wanted to say. The word, and the unpleasant, the unpleasant physical sensation are named the faculty of displeasure. Okay. Being unpleasant, asata, means being harmful. All the pleasant mental sensations, with the exception that in the third meditation, are named the faculty of joy. All these happy mental sensations, with the exception of that in the third meditation, are named the faculty of joy. All right. Whenever in a meditation, so I think maybe the best to say this, I mean there's a present sensation, then you can group that as the joy, faculty of joy, right? If any that unpleasant, say you have to group that as the domanassa, mean the group that as a faculty of sorrow, okay? But anything that is neither of them, then you group them as a upeksha, the indriya, okay? All right, I think we because it say that the detailed explanation will be under the exposition of the indriya. We will talk this a moment later. So first, we have to deal with the 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. Where's the notes we have? We first start to read few of the sutra, which is I think is very important. From in the Samyutta Nikaya, it means a connected discourse. Okay, we call it as a connected discourse in Buddhism. It's one of the early Buddhist texts because it's been arranged according to the subject. Okay, so I think altogether have 7 chapters. Okay, but in under some chapters have maybe like 7 or 8. So then you have the connection So we are going to look at one of the what we call, is it called samyukta? It means the connection called the feelings. Okay, maybe I have to read this one. Okay. All right, let's look at the 这个海律师那个网络上怎么样？有一个办法，你知道是怎么样吗？你要上网，你就 share 给他们了，放在上面。All right, let's. Sorry, you bear with a second later on online. Let's look at what the page 1260. Okay, this is they say the same way. Okay, that the sutta say there are 3 feelings. I don't have to say that, and then that's called the pleasant feelings, the painful feelings, or neither painful nor pleasant feelings, or neutral feelings. Okay. Now then, there was a say, a disciple of the Buddha, mindful, concentrated, comprehending clearly, understanding feelings and the origin of feelings where they finally cease. Okay, and the path leading to the destruction. With the destruction of feelings, a bhikkhu is hungerless and fully quenched. Okay. We're going to look at. I think that look at the number 3. Okay. Can you see the page? Next page, 1261, number 3 there. Okay. I think everyone read it together. Can we? Bhikkhus. There are these.
Pleasant feeling, painful feeling, neither painful nor pleasant feeling. The underlying tendency to lust should be abandoned in regard to pleasant feeling. The underlying tendency to aversion should be abandoned in regard to painful feeling. The underlying tendency to ignorance should be abandoned in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling.
Yeah, go on.
When a bhikkhu has abandoned the underlying tendency to lust in regard to pleasant feeling, then the underlying tendency to aversion in regard to painful feeling, and the underlying tendency to ignorance in regard to neither painful nor pleasant feeling, then is called a bhikkhu without underlying tendencies, one who sees rightly. He has cut off craving, severed the fetters, and by completely breaking through conceit, he has made an end of suffering.
Okay, why don't we read the verses too? Yeah. When one
experiences
pleasure, if one does not understand feeling, the tendency to lust is present, for one is need to escape from it. When one experiences pain, if one does not understand feeling, the tendency to aversion is present, for one not escape from it. The one broad wisdom has taught, with reference to that peaceful feeling, neither painful nor pleasant. If one seeks delight even in this, one is still not released from suffering. But when a bhikkhu who is ardent does not neglect clear comprehension, then the wise man fully understands feeling is the empathy. Last one. Just one more verse there. Having full understood feeling, he is timeless in this very life, standing in Dharma, with the body break up, the knowledge master cannot be reckoned. Okay, right. Well, when you look at this, the number 3 sutra, first sutra, we know that there are 3 kinds of feelings there, right? And then we know that the feelings also have the origin of the feelings. And then basically, the Buddha said that you have to be mindful and concentrated, and also have the we call sati sambanyati, means comprehending clearly, understand the feelings. Okay, and then the feelings basically understand these three types of feelings. Okay, and then so you're able to see the origin of the feelings, and then where also how they cease. Okay, that's very difficult actually for lots of people. But now I think the abandonment here, I mean how you learn to abandon the feelings. But the problem is that usually we think about when we abandon the feelings, mean we don't have feelings, and we don't want feelings. Okay, right? I mean that's how that's our logical language, but it's not the case though. So you have to look at the content here. Again, we say that okay when you meditate or actually any practitioner. So that's why this is also one way to let you understand that Abhidharma. They believe that they just only put the very important items there. So just for the meditation's sake. Here, in the Summa-3 Sutta say there are three kinds of feelings, but then we must understand there's an underlying tendency to the last should be abandoned also. And not only to the last, but the underlying tendency to aversion also should be abandoned. But your abandon actually is those underlying tendency. Okay, so either they're the last, either they're the aversion, either they are this what we call ignorance. Okay, now but how you group these three? So and in other words, mean if you I think if you look at the verses, it's very clear to say it's important how you abandon itself here is because you have the understanding. In other words, I mean you know it. Okay. I think let me see. Okay. He said that when a monk, that's in the second paragraph on the same sutta, right? So has abandoned the underlying tendency to lust in regard to pleasant feelings, and then the three basically mean because he understands, he understands that the three thing. What is that? So in other words, I mean when if he can see these three kind of feelings there, and then if he can understand the underlying there, so then he will cut off this kind of craving. Now. The third line of the last line, he has cut off craving, severed the fetters, and by completely breaking through the conceit, and has made an end to suffering. Okay. All right. Now, let me see how to say. Say I have a sensation of the pleasant sensation, right? When you have a pleasant sensation, you want to have more pleasant sensation, right? When you have this displeasure sensation, and then you don't want to have a displeasure sensation, and sometimes you want your mind to look for the pleasant sensation. You don't want to look for the unpleasant sensation, right? You know what I mean? Okay. Now here is first, or sometimes we have the neutral sensation, but normally when you have neutral sensation in general, okay. So then you have no awareness. Okay,
because ignorance. So
that's why ignorance. You have no way to understand it. Okay, ignorance. Okay, now back to that again. So when you have the pleasure sensation, you observe the pleasure sensation. You want this pleasure sensation to be more and more and more, right? Yeah. And that's why there's an underlying tendency of the lust, the craving there. So. But when you have unpleasant sensation, you don't want this unpleasant sensation. You want to reject immediately, right? So that's why there's an underlying of the tendency that is called aversions there. Okay. Now the important point is that even you know these three might be, but don't think this is a very small subject. It's a big subject. I'm not a big subject. It's a very important subject. Okay. Because in meditation actually, lots of the Greek time, there's a great deal of the time you are dealing with the sensation, right? Mm-hmm. You're sitting there, you feel unpleasant. It's a sensation there. Wow, this is pain. My leg is not feeling good. My body is not well, and my shoulder is stiff, right? So, of course, different technique have different emphasis, but then it still is a sensation. You feel, of course. The recognition of the heavy, you could say that's the earth element, or it's okay, But then if you look at further down, you do have sensation. You like it or you don't like it. So for example, first time you might like it. You think, oh, now I do see the earth now. I could feel the earth element because heaviness there. But when you meditate a long time and then you find, why it's always like this? Why don't you change to more comfortable one, right? Why don't you move, like water? Normally my understanding is that then maybe sometimes teacher would say, then that's the feelings. Look at the feelings, and it's very hard for me. What? Of course I know it's feeling, but I don't like it. Why can't it go away? So, and of course this is our what we call prabanja. It's not only craving, it's prabanja. In the word it means you have the propensity, something translate. It's because of the craving. Actually, it's because of these conditions there, and then you're craving, and then you start to think something else. So of course, in the Mahayana, that's always called 颠倒梦想. That you have you should look at it, but you don't want to, and you think differently, right? 颠倒梦想, because of no right view. So this is very important. One day you do meditation, you'll find that really important. So actually, when you strip down this kind of so-called earth element, the concept of earth element, and we're going to talk concept later, okay? So, and then you will understand that's a kind of sensation. So, now we want that more, and because we want that more, so sometimes you do get it because you try very hard how to do it, but then still, after when you have good sensation, even people talk to me sometimes, they say, oh, I always kind of like I'm in jhana, but I feel bored even in the jhana. At first time I feel really nice, place, nice, and the second time very nice, but after half year,
you're gonna make it bigger.
Yeah.
But then the Buddha says very clearly, though, there's a contradiction because he talks about the pleasant sensations. Buddha says wholesome sensation in the jhana is good.
It is
but
good.
You don't cling. That's number one. Right? You don't cling.
Yeah, it
you
is.
You don't crave. But the tricky part, I think, with the pleasant sensation is that for the brain to work well, to meditate well, to be concentrated, you need joy. You need piti and sukha. Then you let go, of course, each stage of the jhana, right?
It is, but then...
but you don't cling. But it's important to use it, like a raft.
let me see how to... Yeah, it is, but then the thing it is, I'm saying
so
that...
there's a difference.
No, I'm talking in that of like in some of the instantaneously, when you meditate, or some people after meditate, they feel that why this jhana... At first they feel very happy about that, right? And later on they feel the suffering comes along, right? So suffering here, the pain sensation, especially that's not what you expect. And especially if you think that, why I have no improved, right? When this kind of mind comes and you I haven't improved my meditation. Why I'm always in this jhana? No, nothing else. What else I can do? Right? So I'm saying this, it's like, so you started to but that's a pleasure sensation. That's one thing. And the second is that, and then you don't feel happy about it because of a wrong way of understand, and then you feel, of course, not happy about it later. Okay, that's one problem. The other problem is that some other people, like you just mentioned, if you think that when I meditate, I also must have the very joyful sensation, that certainly is not Buddhist teaching.
No, but it's not joyful, but you actually aren't, but you're not attached. And I think there's a difference between what Buddha made very clearly, wholesome and unwholesome, right? He said, wholesome pleasure you should kind of cultivate in a way to meditate well, but not necessarily be attached or cling to any of it. Because in each jhana you have to let go, right?
It is true. You don't have to attach it. Everybody agree that you don't
let go, you first
but if you don't attach it, what kind of feelings that will be?
Equanimity.
Is it neutral?
Equanimity.
Equanimity?
Equanimity, or I don't know. I mean, it's
when
usually
you
it's
let go, it'll be equanimity.
Really? That's a question. Okay. Now.
That's why we're here, right? Investigate. I mean,
so
if
you
deluded, but I think it's equanimity.
If you think that is equanimity all the time, so then we presume the Arahant and the Buddha is always equanimity.
No, it's not all the time. It changes. I mean.
So if it changes, it means then...
So, I mean, it's not very well established for people like us, but maybe for Arahant.
But because just now you answered the question, you said that you think that when somebody has abandoned the craving, right, that should be equanimity. But if you say the Buddha, then he is not all the time staying in equanimity with your presumption then the Buddha sometimes have craving then.
I mean, Buddha could have, I mean, he could have cravings, but he wouldn't be attached to it, or he would know it's a craving. Who knows? You never know.
But that's the difference between the ignorance, neither both sides, right, and the equanimity. How do you know when you feel nothing, you're neutral feeling, and you abandon your feeling? It's really difficult to say. And you're ignorant sometimes. You don't even know. And you think you're neutral state.
No. Yeah, certainly you might be. You think, no, I don't think there's a question with when you know that you're in a neutral state. I won't think there will be questions like, you could, like you say, sometimes you don't know, sometimes you know. Let's say in meditation, it's very clear, because when in a normal life, you do experience that, but it's because our mind tend not to be aware of these neutral feelings, okay? Actually, the neutral feeling sometimes in a certain place can be understood as a kind of like when you get confused. In a confused situation, actually, you don't really have pleasure feelings or neutral feeling. I'm sorry, pleasure or unpleasure feeling. You just have the neutral feelings too. Yeah, but in meditation, it's much clearer. Like, you might be just meditating at the stage like you don't know how to describe it. You don't have a feeling like happy, and you don't have the feelings like not happy too. That is neutral. Because you could, anyway, that, yeah, in other words, neutral feelings, you could feel it. Sometimes, like you say, sometimes it happens to you, but you just don't know it happens to you. So that's why he say it has a tendency with the ignorance, okay? Now, I think it's in this sutra, one of the things we talk about abandon. In other words, you had abandoned the craving, right? So it's a very, that involves a lot of things there. But firstly, because we still have few sutras to talk. But first understand here, I guess, because then we might have a better sense of it. Say that now, even when one experiences the pleasure, the second, the verses say, when one experiences pain, right? The third one say, I didn't say that the neutral first. He say, when one experiences the pleasure, the second experiences the pain, if one does not understand feeling. That's the main point. That have to understand it, So, and when you experience pleasure, then the tendency last is pleasant. If experience the pain, the tendency of aversion is pleasant. Actually, I think the third one is very subtle, so subtle that when the neutral experience a neutral, if they don't understand it, and then they will be that's the tendency of ignorance. Okay, you want to say the same, make comment, yeah.
Just the way I'm reading when I read this, the understanding. I see it as an understanding that as the arising has a cessation. So if you understand that, then you won't cling to that feeling. If you understand that that feeling can arise, but within that intrinsically there's also a cessation to that feeling. It's not a matter of either clinging or suppressing that feeling. It's a matter of letting go.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's okay. You can elaborate it. I will read it in a way like only when you understand it,
Right.
and you will see the arising and the ceasing.
Right.
So that's the way I understand it. So
That's why it's clear comprehension.
yeah.
If you have clear comprehension.
Yeah, if you have that, and then yeah, you will say. Shall we have a break? I guess because time fly quickly. When you have a break, if you have time, I do suggest you look at this text up to the page 1270. Okay? While you're eating something. Okay. Actually, that means is it whole thing? Oh, that's too much writing. No whole thing. Not really. Where is it? Okay, then I think it's all right if you think that whole thing is too much. Read number 4 and number 5 and number 6, the whole thing. No, I mean, you have time. We're not going to read it, but we just learn something there in later. Right. Enjoy your time first. Have a little break. And then feel your sensation. If you feel numb, that's ignorance come along.
That's the one I'm having trouble with.
Okay. Okay. So let's back to the another sutras on the one that I gave, the text from the Samyutta Nikaya, or the Cognitive Discourse. The number 4, the bottomless abyss. Okay. Well, generally mean if the people think that there's an ocean where there's endless, almost like the bottomless abyss, then the Buddha say those are the fool people if they think that way. If that's because there's no such a thing, non-existence and unreal. But then he'd like to use this as a simile. Okay, he said that when those people are instructed wording, means that they are not a saint, they are not like a Sotapanna, but they're like a normal people, or what we call Puthujjana in the original Prithagjana in Sanskrit, or Puthujjana in Pali. If they are those people, and also they are uninstructed, nobody teach them, they're uninstructed, not well been learned. So if they contact by the painful bodily sensation, this is how you can see happen in all over the world. Especially if you teach meditation, that's always the question. So, and then what he feel when there's contacted by this, or struck by this kind of the bodily feelings, painful bodily feeling, and his sorrow, right? Nobody will happy about it. Sorrow, grieved, and lament, and weeps, and then he beat his breast, actually, just to say, like a King Kong, but not brave, but very sad, beating him, become distraught, And then so the Buddha say, actually, if the people talk, there was something called this, what they call endless, or kind of what they call the bottomless abyss. That's the bottomless abyss. 就是到了无底洞的绝望里面. Okay. In Chinese, they do have this kind of expression. So they do have this expression, but there's no such a thing called the bottomless abyss, right? But then, but Chinese do have the expression. I mean, when you're really sad, you be so distraught up to this. I think this is maybe from this kind of text too, more or less, I guess. Anyway, so but then and that person does not gain the foothold, right? Because like you hang in there, there's no end, foothold. There's no way to have foothold. But then, that's what the wonderful Buddhist teaching always say something bad, and later on you have some good news for you. The good news is then, but those instructed noble disciple, when they are the contact by the painful bodily feelings, he does not sorrow, grieve, or lament. He does not weep and come to the distraught. And they are the one called again the foothold. Okay. Now, actually, the verse is very important. The verse is telling you what you should do. Okay. The verses say, when one cannot endure the arising painful feelings, bodily feelings that sap one's life, who tremble when they touch him, a weakling a little strength, who weeps out loud and wails, he has no risen up the bottomless abyss, nor has even gained a foothold. We know that, right? Second, but one who is able to endure them, arise and painful feelings, either their bodily feelings, okay, that saps one's feel. He trembles not when it touches him. He has risen up the bottomless abyss, and he has gone gained a foothill. Well, that's in other words mean it's very important when you practice now. When for a noble person, they don't complain the bodily sensation when they are painful, basically. It's because they understand that is you don't. But if you can endure it, you do have the foothold. Otherwise, you are in endless, okay.
No painkiller for you?
I think in Buddhism, I think they would not say they will no painkiller, but they would not I need a painkiller. I guess. I'm not sure up to what extent. But here he referred to the saint already. But for sure that if I believe definitely if the people in the third fruit, as we just mentioned, no, I didn't mention actually, people like in anagami, for example, even you cut themselves, they would not arise the hatred. So this the what we call just now, we say the tendency for the hatred, right? It's been almost like removed already. So that's why they never get angry. They don't get angry for anagami.
Once returner.
No, once returner.
Right.
No, non-returner. They anagamis mean non-returner. So and then they don't get they don't have hatred at all. No. So even you cut them, they don't get hatred. So that's why I always say there are some people claim they are anagami arahant. If you fight them, get angry, there's no way. It's impossible. Imagine you cut your skin, you don't have that hatred. So you're so bad. You have that's the reason why the Buddha had to warn you. If you do have that bad mind, bad karma, strong bad karma comes to you. Yeah, if you're Sotapanna, you understand it, maybe you still want to take painkiller. I guess, I believe if it's very serious. Sakadagami, maybe less. Maybe they don't think they should to. They don't mind the pain. They understand the suffering so well, and I think they don't mind. Might be very suffering. They show you the face, but I don't think they wanted to take. I guess. I guess that. I think so. And this is very hard for the people to understand that part. I guess. And that's the reason why people when they give that pen and they unless they want to do something because they have to do something in order to, let's say they have a class and they should do something, that would be exception, I guess. You know what I'm saying? What I mean? It's not because they want to sustain the body, but they will just need to fulfill in the job and finish the job. That would be an exception, I think. This is my understanding. Yeah. Okay. That's another condition. You'll be your observation. Okay. The more you learn Dharma, the more you will understand the nature of the sand and not the sand, more or less. Okay. 1, 2, 6, 3. I think that's not the thing. We are not going here to learn Dharma to judge people. Anyway. So, all right. I need to say. But back to here. So I think this is the should be seen is very important chapter. So we know that there are 3 kind of feelings. Okay. And then. But however, when you have the pleasant feelings, you have to be seen as a painful feelings. When the painful feelings should be seen as a dart, in the dart like arrow, So like something you have been hurt because of the karma. Maybe you can think it that way, like that's been hurt. The way that at the moment you were born, you have felt to be had the first start already. Because as far as you have the physical, you definitely have the pain. Okay, have to feel the pain. So, and then when the neutral feelings have to be seen as the impermanence, So it's a very important thing. Especially if you practice vipassana. Of course, you meditate, for a long, long time. When it's long time, you'll be meditating a long time. After some time, you feel you don't have any painful feelings. You just feel so nice, right? I know that usually even in our Jhanya monastery, we heard that like people when they come for Q&A, and then suddenly they say, I was meditating so well, but now so bad. I feel my whole body that's so bad, so painful, and they don't want to accept that, and they say they will start to question, did I do something wrong? But I was yesterday so good, and why now so bad? Right? Actually. My understanding is that it's a very good chance. If you have meditated so good, and then the next day, the morning is bad, so bad, if you have the right understanding, like this text say, you maybe have a really tremendous improvement, right? But if you deny it, I don't want it, oh, it's so bad, and then you are fall back to it earlier. Maybe it makes you, after you try very hard to be focused and concentration and all this, make you feel good again. But it doesn't, still, you didn't see what is a craving there, what is a hatred there, Anyway, you don't see what's the ultimate, there's 3 tendency affect you. But here I think not only that, it's here it suggested you that when you have a good feelings, you have to look at it as the painful feelings. So, or maybe you can say in another language, you have to arise the mind thinking actually that's the sorrow. I mean not sorrow, sorry. That's the dukkha, is the suffering. Okay. So I don't ask you to imagine as the pain, but you need to arise that kind of mind because that's the way to help you to pull yourself out of the attached to the pleasant feelings. But rather just like, understand that that's unpleasant feelings. And then, but however, you don't stop there even, because otherwise you just only stay in unpleasant feelings, you suffer, right? I say, but then when the unpleasant feelings there, you need to endure it, right? Back to the previous chapter, then that's how you can stand a foothold on it, right? Otherwise you will be endless, like a bottomless abyss, right? The suffering like that. But you can have the foothold on it, and you feel that you have to endure it. Or there's a good similes mean you have to feel like the dart, because as far when you have the physical body, that should be the pain there, okay? Because that's how the Buddhist concept understand even dependent arising. If we say about that, the moment when you were born, right? So actually in several places, this is one of the places. Say, whenever the moment you were born, so you have been shoot one of the dart already. So that means the body, that means you've been shoot. But when you've been shoot on your body, do you want to have the second arrow or the dart, shoot on the same spot? You don't want to, right? So that's why. So what's the way to escape from it? Of course, people think escape is to put it out, That's all. No, but that's why the abstract of Buddhist teaching is here. But that's very important concept is the way is to understand it. Now, one way of doing it when you have that's when there's you knew there's a tendency of the aversion there. And the second, when you have the tendency, this is my logic, okay? When you have there's so many ways to explain, but my way of explaining, when then you understand the tendency of the unpleasant, and then and the tendency of the anger, and then you will start to see actually it is, you have to abide yourself, endure it. After when enduring it, you need to arise the mind, its impermanence. In other words, you may become to a point that you do have the neutral feeling towards that. Like you don't feel aversion it, of course you don't feel delighted, but you don't feel aversion on that. So when you come to the point almost like the impermanence, then you need to really have the wisdom to think everything is impermanent, and you will see the changing. I think I did mention this story. Why I want to say this one, because I have my very vivid experience. Once when I was meditate, and I said that story because there was so funny thing. After that, I don't have that much problem like this. But that was the time I went to meditate. I have a very busy, homework and this and looking after so many people when I was in Sri Lanka. Anyway, then one day I went for a retreat, like just only 7 days, something like that. The first 3 days I would sleep like a pig, really. Everybody will wake up at 3 o'clock. I'm the one. The monk, we stay together, and the monk call me. I also mean because they're older than me, monk, I'm a young monk. Wake up! Wake up. And I try to sit there and then fall asleep again. They wake up. And we have to go to meditate. Oh, you go. And I sit there and I fall asleep. 3 days. Really sleep like a pig. And the only time I do meditate well is, of course, after actually afternoon. So all the time I just sit and sleep. But then after 3 days, I sometimes aware, but I definitely can wake up very early, 3 o'clock. And then at night, I just sleep and sleep. I need to also mention why. It's not because I'm just too lazy. It's also, I was actually get ill at that time. Few reasons. One is so tired, mentally exhausted. Second is get ill. But after 3 days, I get interested because I feel delighted. Okay, very strong delight, very, very strong. I feel, wow, so pleasure. And I sleep very less that time. So I still don't wake up at like 3 o'clock as them. They still call me, but at least I would not looks very like a really horrible person, like, really. I look fresh, but then I still back to sleep. But then at least then I do quite okay. And I think it's the 4th or 5th day, especially in the 5th day. Definitely from 4th day, I'm doing very well. And the 5th day, on the 5th day, I meditate, I could meditate whole day, okay? Just meditate and meditate. I want to say that means I can sit there for more than 4 or 5 hours. And when I stand up, I still meditate. And when I'm eating, I just meditate, While I'm saying, it means no distraction at all. And then that night, one night, I can meditate the whole night to the next day. I really didn't sleep, just sit there. That was the time I sit there. And then I was doing quite okay. And then the next day, morning, okay, I was a little tired because of the night, but fine. I just only sleep maybe 1 hour, I think something like that. Well, what I want to say then, I think, that was a sixth day. Yeah, 6th day, something like that. And I was sitting in a meditation. And then at night, and I feel really, very good, very good. But then I knew, the 5th day I knew already there's something wrong with me. There's something wrong with me is because I knew that the good sensation comes to me all the time. It feels so nice. And everybody like it. But I think that somehow I remember that Buddhist text say this, And that I should actually arise to see this good sensation as the painful sensation or something like should be not right. Because I'm happy, but don't change it all the time. I feel nice. At the first day I enjoyed the whole day fine, but the second day I started to, I'm sure everybody will enjoy it, but that time I don't want to think it that way. I want to think that much wrong. And you know what? It's so hard. And I knew it wrong. It took me the whole day try to think impermanent, not working. Try to think bad sensation, not working. This is just a concept, doesn't work. And I just try many ways. Now, I was lucky at that time, how I did it. And I was sit there and I feel joyful. You never feel that so nice, just joy. Very, very joyful. And then what happened? Then I started to feel something changing there. Because I look again with my physical body and my sensation, whole body. Because in the whole body you cannot find any bad part. Oh, that's good. So and I look at and find that. And you know how I did find it? I find it because the wind comes. I feel a little, very subtle, when the wind comes, joy there. When they go, a little not joy there. When they come, joy there. When they go, actually I feel whole body good already, but then there's still very, very subtle there. The wind just not blowing you, you just feel the body not joy. Very subtle. Now that's interesting. That's why I think this is very important. I guess if I just, firstly, good thing I know that this is wrong, okay? It's not correct. The second thing, I know that's very important is that, and that time I have to look at, so that's why this painful sensation, this pleasure sensation is painful. I did come this idea. Somehow, I come this idea. And then I start to see my sensation. It was like whole body almost like been pan, pressure. Like somebody pan the whole thing in the body, pressure. So because I feel it and I have that kind of idea, so then the painful sensation, the nice sensation changed unpleasant sensation. Like tickling, holding, tickling. Imagine who like it? The tickling. But because I think because I have the previous experience, my mind is still very stable actually, no distraction. And I also look at this as a kind, what it is physical body. This tickling, fine, I'm going to die one day, whatever, That's what I think anyway. And then become stronger. But that time you don't feel, the stronger you don't feel like awful, like earlier day, the leg is pain, the body is pain, it's not like that. You just feel changing and then your mind become very calm. I guess it's more like here, say, the neutral. Of course, that time I didn't think about what the neutral. If you have neutral feeling, you don't think much. You just have a kind of like very, very, the mind can focus. Now, that's interesting. At only that time, then the body disappear. Okay. When I say the body disappear, mean you only see xixin, ceasing, ceasing, ceasing. And that was really one of the wonderful experiences. I feel my mind have a joy. I also could feel my mind without joy. And I could feel my mind, that without joy means sad, but the sad, painful is not like, it will not attack you. You feel the mind with the, maybe even little fear, just sometimes, but because your focus is so good, then you don't feel those things are disturbing you. Kind of like, okay. Now the important is not only that you see the ceasing, the whole body will cease. Like nothing appear, but everything gone, okay. Even outside, whatever you see, just cease. But of course, actually, I start with outside thing. When I start with outside, the outside thing only you can see, they arise, they cease. They arise, they cease. And then they be stopped, they stop. They almost like break up everything. And then they will become cease, 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 cease. So that's why I say, I guess this text is the painful, it looks like very simple, you know. But for practicing, you know, it's very good, very, very important. But then I think that for the time reasons, we don't going to talk much. Go back to read this few, and then I thought today we just want to introduce a sensation because it's one of the very important chapter. And the last, you know, we have to understand. That's why the Buddha say, even in this text, say that when we have a sensation, when there's a contact, when the cease of the sensation, actually the cease here. Don't take it as mean no sensation, okay? Actually, the cease of sensation is only you can be understood, I guess, is like the cease of the tendency of the aversion and the tendency of ignorance and the tendency of this, the craving, because you don't, so the lust. And then you will start to see this, the Dharma, it's a very big breakthrough, and this is how you started to basically mean you understand the dependent arising, how depend on this, what arises, without what cease, right? Okay. Okay, today we stop here. Unfortunately, we didn't finish the thing. But the rest, go back to read, okay, the Samyutta Nikaya, the Vedana, the feelings. And I'll see you next week. Is it? We have class next week? We try not to be late. Don't blame us for the late also. Blame the printer and the traffic jam. And also partly because of us.